tech discussion this morning, Adesola Oguntimain, who is a seasoned cybersecurity, GRC, and compliance expert with a vast cross-industry experience. Now, as the founder of the Cyber Patreon Network, she champions digital safety and empowers the next generation through her cybersecurity summer camp. Today, we'll be discussing the state of cybersecurity awareness in our nation. It's great to have you, Adesola.
Thank you
welcome.
so much. Thank you so much.
Let's get to meet the person behind the IT, the tech girl. All right. When and how did you get into tech?
Well, I think, how did I even get into tech? Out of desperation. Yeah, because I was in a career, I was into different careers, but I wasn't fulfilled. So I wanted something more. Then I resigned from my job. I'm like, okay, let me just stay home and rest for like a week. I'll figure life out afterwards. So everybody was like, you're making a very foolish decision.
Wait, you just resigned?
No, that was like, I think 4 years ago. Or
when I was saying that you resigned, not like there was another job, you just resigned.
Yeah, I just resigned.
I went to sit down in the house.
I just wanted to sit down in the house because I was tired. I was really exhausted. Everybody was like, oh, that's a very foolish decision. How would you do something like that? Do you even have money to keep up? I'm like, I will manage. I'll be fine. So in between, I just wanted to just sleep. Let me just sleep from the Lagos brouhaha every morning and everything. So I woke up that Monday morning. I wasn't going to work, and I'm like, yeah, this is the life I want. This is the life. So people started telling me about, why don't you just go into tech? I'm like, tech is it not for men? Why? It's too difficult. I don't want to code. I don't want to do anything difficult. And then along the line, I just found something. I just found it, and I'm like, okay, this is what I really want to do. And from there, it's been amazing.
Something quite interesting about your story. It's not like you had something in mind, that there was something that this is exactly what you wanted to do. You more or less like there was an open slate. You was like, okay, well, you just gave the chance to maybe the universe, whatever happens, happens, and then it happened the right way.
Yeah, exactly.
And then you are now into IT cybersecurity. And then you have an organization where you do a summer camp and all of that. Yeah. How did you get into all of that? Why did you decide to do that?
Okay, so along the line, I was thinking of people were having difficulties getting into cybersecurity, and I'm like, because I had the same difficulty when I was starting out as well, and I'm like, okay, how can we create something for other people, make it easy for them to also pivot into this industry, Then I started a small community for people. I started grooming beginners as well, like myself. I was also a beginner at that point in time, but I was helping people get started. That was how I started my own company as well. So we now started rendering services, and then along the line this year and last year, I was like, okay, now I feel like we've created a lot of awareness. I think people in our generation, millennials, Gen Zs, are really getting aware of cybersecurity crimes and everything going on out there. I'm like, okay, what about the teenagers? Because I see a lot of teenagers with phones now. They're just online. They're doing TikTok. They're just dancing. And I'm like, these people understand what cyberbullying is. People bully each other for, you're too fat, all those things. So I'm like, okay, you know what? Let me just have a summer camp where I can talk to them about cybersecurity. Let them get to know it is not just about carrying the phone and using the tab and using the laptop. Do you know what is behind it? So I decided to do that. Then now I'm just like, now that I've done that, and I still do that, and I will still continue to do that for kids, I still think the non-digital literate in our society, they need more awareness as well. Because we have about maybe 50% of them, not talk about those in the rural areas. Now I'm talking about our aunties, our uncles that we just buy phones for, they just go on WhatsApp, Facebook, and they're just online. They don't know what's going on. So I'm like, how do we create awareness to these people so they can understand the basic things, at least know the basic things, because the technologies these days is crazy.
It is.
Yeah, we have deepfake, we have anything that deepfake now can clone your voice, and I will listen to it and I'll feel like I'm talking to you.
Like exactly.
And they would not know. And people will use that as a means of scamming them because they are not aware. So we want to create that kind of awareness to everybody.
I mean, far back then, it used to be an idea of Photoshop. It was pictures that you could manipulate, that, a video is harder to manipulate. But these days now, like you mentioned, with the deepfake and then with the emergence of AI and the capabilities and all of that, sometimes you can just put someone's face and a video can be created and all of that. There is more need for us to be security conscious. So, as a user, now you spoke about talking to kids and younger people. Before we get to the older age, what do you tell them? What do you tell the young kids who use TikTok and social media and all of that in that way to create content? How can they be digitally, how can they be secure? How can they be aware, of their security online? How do they do it?
Okay, so for our summer camps, we talk to them about digital safety. Okay. Right, what you do online, the kind of information as kids. We have Data Privacy Act that covers what you can do. And on and on, before you can register on all these social media apps, you have to have gotten to a certain age. So sometimes parents just open it for them because they want to have a famous child, right? So they just go ahead and do these things without thinking of the effect it will have on that child, because they can bully them online and it affects their mental health. That's why we have high rate of suicide these days, right? So we talk to them about all this online safety, the kind of information you're supposed to put out there, your public information, your private information, things that people cannot even understand or see about you that shouldn't be online. We talk to them about that. We talk to them about the little things that comes from passwords, you know, how to create a stronger password for yourself, how to protect your gadgets, all those things that you know that a third party is not supposed to be able to access. So we teach them about it, at least for their own level, they need to understand those things. And I'm so happy that we made a very great impact from this summer camp. It was amazing, amazing. That parents started reaching out to me that, oh, when is the next one coming up? We want to put kids in, because they need to understand.
Okay, let's just pick one part of this and talk about password protection.
Yeah.
How do I create a strong password? Where does 2FA come in? Two-factor authentication. Let's just talk about passwords.
Okay.
At least let's teach that one today.
Okay, so for password protection, we all understand that when you ask me what's your password, they will just tell you, oh, my name is Adesola, 1992, Adesola 2005. You could easily guess their password, knowing that this is your name and this is what we were born.
The year you were born.
Very easy. Even when you want to unlock their phone, you can easily guess it. Oh, your year of birth, 1992. I just type it into you and it just opens.
It just opened.
Yeah. So what do you think about yourself that you feel like another person should not know? In cybersecurity, we always tell ourselves that even your husband should not know certain aspect of your job or your safety, your digital safety. So when it comes to creating a stronger password now, create a password that doesn't define you, that doesn't talk about your hobbies, that doesn't talk about, oh, if I see you and I'm like, oh, I know him, his favorite color is black. You could use black and his date of birth is maybe 1995 and I could be like black, put something together. That is how these hackers get into our system very easily, because they have time. It is what they do for a living. So they can sit down trying to crack your password out in 1 hour and they will just be doing that. So how do you create a stronger password? You know, use like an alphabet. You know, sometimes when you want to sign up on these apps, they would even tell you that.
Yeah, some of them would even tell you that, look, maybe I want capital letters,
numbers, symbols and everything on there. And I'm happy they are doing it now, because back in the days, they don't care.
They don't care, yeah.
But now it's there. So you have to understand that I have to create something that has symbols, that has alphanumeric, that has numbers and everything. Then you say, yes, good, strong password.
Wonderful, wonderful. Now let's talk about the older people. You had mentioned it earlier. Who are more susceptible to these things? The kids, it's easier for them to learn. But for the older ones, they just pick the phone, let me just call. But they have apps there. They are the ones, they don't care. Sometimes they don't lock their phones, you know, they just leave their phones and all of that. What can happen in this kind of situation where you have the older, the aged ones?
Yeah, I'm more concerned about them. And it's funny because we've seen how these technologies are improvising. And as the technologies are improvising, these scammers are improvising as well. And we, the cyber security experts, we're trying to combat them. Okay. You know, but we can't do everything. So that's why we're trying to create awareness. You see, for the elderly, they are very, I think they're very vulnerable and they're very susceptible to these attacks. Why? Because they know that if you come to me, I am a professional, I'll be able to tackle this thing out. Yeah. Right? But for my aged aunties, my aged and grandmothers that would just give their phone to, let me wait for my neighbor to come. You know, quickly help me do this thing. They don't care. They don't know what is going on. People can easily just pick their phone, make a transfer from their bank account, and they won't understand what's going on. And
then go and delete the alert
and everything.
Because we've heard about that happening a lot of times.
A lot of times. You know, they go to the bank, you know, they just got their pension, they just went to the bank and then the money is cleared out. How? All those things happen, and it happens to them more because they know that, you know, instead of wasting my time on the Gen Zs that I know that they are like 90% smart already, let's eat this vulnerable aspect of the society. And these are the aged ones. And that is why we want to make sure that they understand what is going on, because the attacks are getting more serious. So if you know, you'll be able to tell your aunt, your grandma, your mom about it. But if you don't know, there is nothing you want to tell them, they won't believe you. So now when we say these things out there, they go out and say, my child says that we should not do this. So my child said we should create stronger password. My child said this. Oh, somebody said this to me and all that. So this is how we're trying to bridge those gaps now and then let them know what's going on. And now the emergence of deepfake technology and AI I can just clone your voice.
Yeah.
I can just create an image of you and just, send it to AI and say, oh, create an image whereby maybe someone had an accident and put this face on it. You create it and then they will send it to your hand or something. They say, emergency, please send 100,000 naira now. We want to buy, get blood, paint of blood for this person and all that. Before they can second guess it, they would have transferred that money out and they will start calling everybody, they said so person had an accident.
This is a scenario that has probably happened.
Exactly. Do you understand? And they say, oh, emergency, send money. By the time it goes around the whole family, the person has gotten all the money and they will just say, send the money to this account. It's an emergency. So before you second guess what's going on, you would have transferred this money out. They don't know.
So in these situations, what do they do?
In this situation now, I think the best thing they can do is, it's a very difficult gap to bridge right now, especially with this deep fake and this AI thing. I'm telling you that you look at a picture twice before you can say this is not me. Do you understand? But if it's coming in as someone calling you on the phone, please, no matter how you feel like it's an emergency, take your time to call whoever is involved or call someone that is very close to them to confirm. Somebody called me on the phone now. Is this true? Is this you? So, but because we're Africans and we're always like, oh, blood of Jesus. No, we just create scenarios in our head and then we'll swing into action immediately. So we should always take time to second guess things like call, verify. Is this true? I think that's one way that we can tackle it. But explain the technology to them to say it's fake, they won't believe it. Because when they go on Facebook, they see a lot of videos that even sometimes they send it to me and I'm like, this thing is not real now. Imagine showing you a video where a cat is carrying an elephant. Can you imagine? So, all these things are going to be
Thank
here.
you. Adesola, thank you so much. This was quite enlightening, as it were, and looking forward to having even more offer on the show. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you so much.
All right, hope you're able to pick up one or two things. We'll take a time out now. Stay with us. There's still one more discussion to go.